Hey guys, tired of feeling stuck in your dating life and striking out in the dating game? You're not alone. Maybe you just need some good coaching. Welcome to Just Ask Her, the no BS podcast for real dating advice straight from a woman's point of view. Dating expert Gracie Pleshcourt and her co-host, certified life coach Tracy Pleshcourt, are here to give you the play-by-play on how to attract more women you're interested in. So, let's take back control of your dating life. This is Just Ask Her.
Welcome back to episode 20 of Just Ask Her. We are in a new decade.
Yeah, we're 20 weeks into this podcast, which is just crazy. And it's obviously still in its infancy stage. We are still learning and growing every single episode, but I just feel like 20 weeks is no small thing for a podcast in general. And so to be all the way here, it was definitely not on the 2024 bingo card. That's for sure.
Nope, it wasn't. But we are the winners.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything exciting happened this past week?
Well, baseball season is officially on the go. So I went to a Twins game last Saturday, and that was super fun. It was a really good game. They were losing in the first couple innings, like the first 3 or 4 innings, it was a 1-0 score. And then in the 4th or 5th inning, they hit a home run and got 3 runs. And then it just started climbing from there. It ended up being a 7-1 game. The Twins won. So that was really fun because it was good competitive baseball. And for people who don't like baseball because they think it's too slow or too boring, that would have been a perfect game for them to be at, because I feel like there was enough going on that it was fun to actually sit through and watch the entire thing.
Yeah. And the Twin Stadium is fantastic. It's such a great stadium. It's new. There's really not a bad seat in the house.
Yeah.
It can get a little chilly if you're in the shade.
We're in the sun for like 30 minutes and it was beautiful. It was so perfect. And then it started to shade over us. The rest of the game, we ended up having to buy a blanket because it was so cold.
Yeah.
But with the blanket, it was fine and it was perfect. So yeah, that was super fun. I've grown up around baseball my entire life with Dad always playing, Griffin always playing. And so it's been a huge part of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember being so offended when people would tell me how boring they thought baseball was, because it was such a huge part of our life. Yeah. And it's not only baseball season, but we are quickly approaching fishing season. Mm-hmm. Fishing opener is always the same weekend as Mother's Day here in Minnesota.
Yep.
And so we are in full prep for Fishing League that starts the first week of May, which means that the boat that has been sitting in our garage in pieces is now able to float on water. Dad officially got that boat put back together. So he inherited a boat from my dad when he passed away back in 2007. It's a deck boat, not really the typical fishing boat, but
Sea Nymph.
The Sea Nymph. And Dad has used it as a fishing boat for all these years. And he has really only put money into maintaining it, not really upgrading it, until this last year. He decided to do some pretty significant upgrades.
Big renos.
Yeah. He changed the location of like the captain's seat and the whole console from being on the right side to being in the center of the boat, which I'm sure was no small feat.
Right. And it's probably like a big fishing thing, right?
Yeah, he was telling me all about how it balances out the boat and how fast it is now. He has a whole new motor on it, and he wrapped it in camouflaged vinyl and then painted certain parts of it. And he had the name, the Nymph 3.0.
Nymph 3.0.
He had stickers made, and that's now been put on the trailer on both sides and the back of the boat. And so anyways, they took it out for the maiden voyage yesterday, and he was...
Him and his buddy.
I mean, he was on cloud nine. He was so excited that it not only could float, it actually went fast. And he was so tickled. He was
My
like,
God.
I couldn't have imagined how good this would be. And it was so much better and so much faster and so much quieter. He was so excited. And then as the evening went on and the lull of the excitement was starting to happen, his friend that went with him texted him a video that he produced. He took video of the whole afternoon. He's like, look at this. And it was so sweet of John.
It is like the most wholesome video I think I've ever seen. If that doesn't sum up his love and like all his efforts into that boat.
It really was a labor of love.
No, totally.
I know that John helped him. His friend Jim helped him. So yeah, they're all very excited about it.
It was like the cutest. I mean, you had told me that he was putting it all in the water and that he was so excited about it and all the things the day before. And then last night, when I was like checking my messages before bed, I saw that he had sent the YouTube video in our family group chat. And I was like, what in the world is this? And I click into it and it is him giddy as ever. It is like the most wholesome video. They popped champagne. They brought out a bottle of champagne and these little plastic cups, popped champagne on the water. Like literally it is the cutest video.
You should put it on your social media and see if you can make it go viral.
Well, we definitely, I'll tag it. And you guys, oh my gosh, could you imagine if their video just starts like blowing up, like him and John's reaction?
I don't think they would even know what that means, but
no, they totally would. John, he looks like he knows what he's doing. He actually like made it into a YouTube video. So
yeah,
I'll definitely link it in the show notes. You guys can go work your magic and blow it up and have my dad's happiness expanded.
We'll have a bunch of Nymph 3.0.
Yeah, Nymph 3.0. That bad baby.
All right. Well, let's get into some submissions because I know we have some polls to talk about as well.
Yep. We've got a couple of submissions and a couple of polls this week.
Okay. So the first one was written in by Mark. He says, hi, I met a girl I thought I'd marry when I was 15. 25 years later, I'm divorced and haven't been with anyone for 4 years. It really affects my confidence knowing I've only been with one person and that it's been nearly half a decade since I've been with anyone at all. Dating feels incredibly hard for me. I have my sons 50-50, so I'm either at work or in full-time dad mode. There's no in-between, no weekends off. I don't work with women, so I'm not naturally meeting people through work either. I just feel so incredibly defeated. All right, well, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I have worked with a lot of single dads and a lot of men that have been divorced. And I think it's natural to feel defeated, feel like things are against you in your dating life because you have these circumstances. I think the narrative that you're telling yourself when it comes to your dating life is probably the biggest obstacle. It's not necessarily these outside circumstances like having the kids 50-50 or not having weekends off or whatever it is. I think the fact that you're telling yourself that dating is hard for you and that whatever the narrative is around why only being with one woman has affected your confidence so much. It's when we step back and actually look at the facts of the situation. You're a single dad. You were in a relationship for 25 years. Like, of course, you've only been with one woman. Yeah. This is your history.
Yeah. And I think that should be honored. I think you should really feel proud. That's a strength of yours, not a deficit. Totally. You certainly shouldn't be ashamed of that. It's a demonstration of commitment, of loyalty, of a deep capacity and ability to love for 25 years. That matters. And yes, re-entering the dating world after that kind of long relationship can feel daunting. Mm-hmm. I totally get that. But I think what's unfamiliar to you right now is not a reflection of your worth. And that's what, sadly, you're making this uncomfortable or unfamiliar territory mean about you. And so that's what we have to change. This is just a sign that you're in a new season of your life.
And just because it's new doesn't mean that it has to mean something negative about you or your worth. I think that it's so easy to allow your fear-based brain to create these narratives about what you're capable of or what it is that you deserve when you've been out of the dating scene for so long, and now you have different obstacles than you did before when you were in the dating scene 25 years ago. This is a completely different scene now, given your life circumstances. So it's going to take a different approach, of course, but that doesn't mean that it has to be difficult or that it has to be looked at as this is something that's going to be incredibly hard for you.
Yeah. I think really leaning in to the identity of being a dad or being a single dad is a much better identity than the one I've been out of the dating scene for 25 years.
Or I've only been with one woman.
That's definitely right. The right woman is not going to care that you've only been with one person. What she's going to care about is what you've learned about yourself, relationships, and that you have the ability to show up as that dad who still believes in love.
Yes, absolutely. You're using some of your best qualities against yourself. And so if you want to have an easier time in dating, it's time to flip the script and actually start looking at the positives of your situation. There's lots of women that are into single dads. They think it's really attractive that you can not only care for yourself, but take such good care of your children and have that sort of responsibility and hold down a full-time job and like all these different things that you're spinning or you're allowing your fear-based brain to spin in a negative way, when really to most women, if you frame it correctly, it's a really big positive.
Yeah. And I think that he's being very extreme with his, I'm either in work mode or I'm in dad mode, and that there's nothing in between.
Right.
When you think like that, of course, you're going to believe that there's no space left for anything else. It's not about finding more time. It's about making meaningful use of the time that you do have.
Exactly. Find other single dads. Start going to your kids' sporting events. Start meeting people and mingling with new parents. There are plenty of ways to meet single women that don't mean you directly going out and finding these women on your own. You can actually start to meet women through your other connections. I know you don't work with any women. Start talking to your buddies at work, seeing what they're up to on their off time during the week when you're not working. Start utilizing the connections you already have, men or women, to your advantage in your dating life. Start talking about being single and looking to date openly with the people that are already in your life. See how your connections can actually start getting you places in your dating life rather than putting it all on you when you don't have the time for that.
Right. And if you can find some extra time to do some things for you, be very strategic about book clubs or running clubs or pickleball clubs or something that you enjoy that you might meet other people at. Make it more about you and what it is that you're trying to accomplish, or something that's going to fulfill you first.
Yeah.
Don't do it with the expectation that I have to do this in order to meet new people. I think saying yes to something that lights you up is going to really put you in a different mindset.
100%.
And I mean, this season of your life has been heavy, and it's okay that you're feeling that way. But instead of making it mean that you're doing it wrong or that this is never going to work, be willing to feel that. Like, be willing to be open. You don't need to feel ready. What you need to feel is willing. So be willing to be open, be willing to feel the awkwardness of what comes along with the dating scene. Be willing to believe that love is actually still possible, even if it does take on a different shape this time. Be willing. That's what we need to be working on right now, and not so extreme in our thoughts.
Yeah. And if you're feeling lost in how to get started, I link my membership in the show notes every single week. So feel free to consider that. I've worked with plenty of single dads, plenty of divorced men that just need a little help getting themselves back out there. And you're not as far off as you would think. I think we just have some thought errors to clean up for you.
Yeah. And I think you've proven that you can love now.
Yeah.
I think let's prove that you know how to receive love. So the one thing you don't have to prove right now is that you know how to commit. That obviously comes natural. You've had a ton of practice with that. So the next woman that comes into your life, she's probably not looking for perfection. She's looking for partnership, and that's your strong suit.
Yeah.
So I want you to lean into all of the things that you are and stop rallying and giving more evidence of what you aren't. That's human nature for your primitive brain to do that. But now that you're aware of it, we want to challenge you to really shift that narrative and to write us back and let us know how things are going.
All right. So for the second submission, we titled it, "She Said No to the Proposal. Now I Don't Know Where I Stand." And this was written in by Adam. I'm 36 and I own 2 successful restaurants. I've been living with someone for the past 3 years. I proposed to her about a year ago and she said she wasn't ready. So I stuck around hoping that she would come around. We recently had a small fight that turned into something a lot bigger, and she brought up all of these feelings of loneliness that I wasn't fully aware of. I do work a lot. However, I dedicate my 2 days off to be with her, and that still isn't enough. So now I'm kind of stuck. I love her and thought she was the one for me, but now I'm very unsure of how to move forward. The time factor is an excuse I've gotten for 15 years. I'm aware my work schedule is tough and can be a strain on any relationship, but I haven't found someone who will fully understand that this has been a dream of mine since I was 15 and just love me enough to accept it.
All right. Well, first off, thank you for your vulnerability. It's clear that you've done a lot of deep thinking about not just this relationship, but your entire life's path. And I want to start by acknowledging this dream that you have created, that you've went after, that you have brought to life. I'm just going to say this. I don't usually comment on this, but Gracie said before we even started the podcast, she's like, there is a really cool submission. And this is the one she was talking about.
This revs me up. I love, and of course, I think it's because of the space that we're in. We obviously like run our own businesses. And so I can fully appreciate the like blood, sweat, and tears that goes into not only running, but like being successful at having a business.
And not only one, but two.
Not one, but two. And I also, not that I've had this like close exposure to it, but I know that the restaurant business is not an easy business to get into and to thrive in. And so the fact that you have done this 2 times over and you're fully living out your dream
that he created at age 15.
At age 15, like I have so much respect for you. And I think that this is a little bit more of a niche problem in dating. I think that there's a lot of men that work long hours, have difficult work schedules where they can relate to something like this. But I think the situation that you're in, you're putting in crazy hours to keep these businesses up and running. And you're right, that can take a strain on the relationships around you.
Yeah.
Because they're something has to give when there are different priorities in place. And I don't have all the answers to like the perfect balance when it comes to navigating a relationship like this. But what I can tell you is finding someone who can respect and also cheer you on and also see your vision and your dream and your passion for these businesses. I mean, like, it is so needed when it comes to having a real healthy relationship for a guy like you, for anybody who runs their own business or is an entrepreneur and puts a lot of hours into their businesses. I can't stress that enough. You need a partner who can understand the passion and understand the vision and the dream, because otherwise this will likely always be the scenario for you.
Yeah. There's a couple things here. The first is that this very much speaks, similar to the last submission. I think this very much speaks to the amount of commitment and your capacity to love something or someone long term. Like being able to get 2 restaurants up and off the ground to a place where you consider them successful, so cool. Building a dream that you had at age 15. Yeah. That's amazing. That speaks so much to the vision and the capacity to create and curate. And it's like, you can do that same exact thing with your love life. I think that the difference is going to be in the narrative, which is probably no shock to the people who listen to this, but you said something powerful in the fact that you haven't found someone who can fully understand your dream and just love you enough to accept it. Okay, here's where the shift has to be. It's like, the right partner is not going to just accept the dream. Yeah. She's going to be like woven into the dream. Like, she's not going to be a bystander. She's not going to be supporting from the sidelines. Like, she's going to be someone whose presence is part of the dream itself. Yeah. And you have the capacity to create this vision. So now rethink this and think about, what's the new vision? What's the reimagined vision for your life that has this type of person in it? You've been looking for somebody who's just going to accept it. We have to reframe that. And we're going to up-level this vision in a pretty profound way. So I don't think that this is so much about your work ethic being at a 10. It's as it is your emotional availability. Are you in a place mentally and emotionally that is going to attract that woman that's going to become part of your dream?
Yeah. And I think that this is obviously a really sticky situation because you're currently in a relationship with somebody that you obviously wanted to work with. You obviously at one point wanted to marry. And so I think that the thing with this relationship that you're in is, it's okay that she wasn't ready at the time, but 3 years with somebody is a long time. At this stage in the relationship, she should have a better idea of if she sees any sort of potential future with you. And so if you guys haven't had that conversation, you proposed to her a year ago and that was the last you guys talked about it, I think it calls for a serious conversation at this point to see if you guys are still heading in the same direction. And that also means bringing some clarity to, is this a partnership that's really going to work for you?
Yeah. And I think also gain some clarity on what the no means. She's not saying no to you, to you as a human being, as a partner. She's saying no to the life that she feels she's potentially going to be living. And right now to her, it feels like a life in waiting, right? That's her perspective. It feels lonely. Shift that perspective. You know, she's not aligned with your dream. And so her interpretation of this is the life that she's saying no to. Mm-hmm. It's not you.
Yeah. And I think asking if you like really want to see if there's a potential for this relationship to work, and you really want to see if you guys can figure it out to a point where you both are happy in this relationship, I think it's actually asking the intentional, important questions. Like what would a relationship, an ideal relationship with me look like? How much time would we need to be spending together for you to feel like this connection that you feel like has been missing? You know, I think she's telling you that she's felt a sense of loneliness that you weren't ever aware of until this point. And so if you really want a chance at this relationship working, it's actually hearing her out. Where is this loneliness coming from? Is it because I'm physically not present with you when I'm at work? Is it because you don't feel like we connect emotionally when we are together? Like where is it coming from? Where are the gaps that we need to fill? Yeah. And if she's willing to work with you on that and actually figure those things out and actually start moving towards the same goal as you, then yeah, it might mean compromising on things. It might mean you adjusting the schedule a little bit. It might mean you very intentionally planning a weekend getaway together. Now, you have to decide what your life ideally looks like for you. If your life ideally looks like you're in a season of I'm living the dream in my career, I am living out my passions, and I don't want any piece of that to change right now for me, then I think it means you would have to find somebody who is willing to be there.
Who wants to be there.
Who wants to be there. Who wants to be in a relationship with somebody who needs to spend that kind of time on the business. Like, trust me, I understand this. Like, I devote my life to my business. And at certain points, there have been certain points where nothing else got my attention. Nothing. Like, I was waking up, sitting down at my desk and starting work, and then not closing my laptop until I was crawling into bed. Like, nothing else got my attention. And at certain seasons that made sense. And now I'm in a season where I'd like to find the better balance for my relationships and my business. But at that point, you probably couldn't have gotten me to go a different direction. I wanted my focus to be on the business. And so you have to decide what it is that you want. Ideally, if this relationship wasn't a factor, what would your ideal situation look like? What would your ideal life look like?
Yeah.
And start there.
Yeah. And I think that the proposal, or specifically the no that you got as a answer, can be really like valuable, because you propose with the belief that this is quote unquote the one. But the truth is, marriage does not fix disconnection. So this is your opportunity to use what you've learned so that you can honestly gain the clarity and really understand what's really between you two. Is that love strong enough? You've asked, do you think she'll come around? I don't think that's the real question. It's more about, are we still building something together, or are we both just hoping that the other one will change? I think that the no that you got to that question, that proposal, was very purposeful, because you are going to see that it revealed a lot, and it can continue to reveal a lot. I think to your point, I think asking the right questions now is going to be key.
I think most people avoid those types of questions because you don't want to know the answer.
Yeah. There might be nothing to fix. It's just, what is it that you need to understand?
Yeah. Yeah. And you might get the answers to those questions and realize that it's not going to be a good fit.
Yep.
And as hard as that is, if your dream and your passion is to be as involved in these businesses as you are now for the years to come, or like forever, right? Like, you have to make decisions for you. You have to make decisions that are for your best interest. And I think that there's messaging out there that like you shouldn't be selfish when it comes to relationships. But I think to some level, you do need to be. When you're deciding what relationships to be in or what relationships to commit forever to, you do need to be selfish at some degree. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in this exact situation where somebody is, or both people are unhappy or feeling like there are missing pieces to the relationship. And it's because you guys were never fully aligned from the first place. Mm-hmm. And you were trying to make something work that wasn't meant to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this next chapter, like the next vision, is going to require you to ask yourself, like, I've given everything to my work. Am I ready to give that same kind of devotion to this relationship? And you have to be honest with yourself on mm-hmm. that. And if the answer is no, are you willing to be honest with her mm-hmm. and do it for the good of both of you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a completely different world when you are working towards the same goal with a partner.
Yeah.
Than if one person is heads down working towards a goal and the other person is feeling left behind. It is a completely different relationship. And I don't know, the Hormozis come to mind when I think about stuff like this. If you don't follow them or have never seen their stuff, they are like two people on this planet that they found the person that could understand what it was that they wanted. And it's a little bit of a different situation, but I think one of their biggest messages is how much they preach. You obviously don't get to pick your family, but you do get to pick your partner. You do get to pick who it is that you choose to spend forever with. And any like successful business owner, successful entrepreneur that is also successful in their relationships will tell you the exact same thing. Like, you have to find somebody who is aligned with the dream and the goals and the vision and wants it for you just as much as you want it for yourself. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, this is what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. We are wishing you the best of luck. Yeah. And we'd love to hear back from you.
Yeah.
All right. So our last submission is titled, "Is it even worth dating if I'm still overweight?" I'm in my early 30s and live in New York City. I have a very social job and I'm making lots of friends. However, there's one thing preventing me from feeling fully confident about myself, and that's the fact that I'm about 50 pounds overweight. I've never been in a relationship and I've only been on 3 dates. I'm currently trying to do what's in my control to lose weight so that I can feel healthy and happy about my physical appearance. But I feel discouraged to date right now because my parents and a lot of male self-improvement YouTubers have led me to believe that women don't want to date overweight men. My dad even once said that I'm too overweight for women to be with me. When visiting my parents 2 months ago, this topic came up again. I tried to quote Gracie's masterclass by saying that it's all about how you feel together, not how you look together. They both immediately responded, "That's not true." My mom then added reasons for why she'd never want to be with someone who was obese. I want to believe that this is just their opinion, not everyone's, but it's difficult when I don't have much evidence yet of women being attracted to me, and the people who raised me don't agree with what I want to believe. I do have evidence of women enjoying my company. I want to think I'm right and that there's more than one way to attract women, even if a man is overweight but working on himself. Still, I'd love to hear your thoughts so I can gain more clarity. Thank you.
It sounds like I need to have a little sit down chat with your parents.
Yeah. Apparently, they are not following your social media.
Apparently.
They're not picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. I think there's a lot in this. And I want to preface this with, first of all, you're not the only one who is like trying to better themselves and feeling unworthy because of their weight. That is so common between men and women, just in general in life.
The effort that you are putting into yourself just by, for example, writing in, but all the things that you have mentioned that you're doing, that in and of itself is attractive. So I want to be really clear, and I hope that your parents listen to this, because you are not disqualified from love because of your body.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm getting angry. I'm saying this through gritted teeth. And here's what I'm going to believe about your parents. I'm going to let them be wrong. Mm-hmm. I believe with 100% of my being that they are wrong. I know a lot of people that have very different body shapes and sizes, and they make amazing partnerships.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with their physicality. Like, there is so much more attractive. They are so much more attracted to one another outside of just their looks. And it's so obvious.
Yeah.
I think you could scroll social media for 5 minutes and you would see a lot of couples who have different body shapes. So I'm just going to let your parents be wrong on that. And I think that if you have evidence that women find you attractive, or if women find you funny, or that you have been able to
they enjoy your company,
I would dig deeper into that and really keep your focus there, not allow your primitive fear-based brain to go out and look for all of the, evidence of the otherwise.
Yeah, I think you're working on yourself. You said, I'm trying to improve myself, and I'm assuming that your health is included in that. And I think that it's so interesting that this is something our brain likes to do. It's like you're putting in the effort to better yourself, but your brain is telling you that it's not good enough, or that you'll never be attractive to women, and all of these super self-sabotaging narratives that is keeping you from actually wanting to continue to better yourself. That's what's happening, is you are setting these goals to improve yourself, improve your health, and then you start to dabble in those goals and your brain starts firing all of these self-sabotaging thoughts about how women would never find you attractive right now and all these things. And it's probably, if I were to guess, probably why losing weight or getting to your health goals is so difficult, because you constantly have this idea in the back of your head that you aren't attractive to women. And I just think that it's so common. And while I think that there are physical traits that, yes, will get a woman's attention is not attraction. And I can't say this enough. Attention does not equal attraction. You might get a girl's attention for having a six-pack, but that does not equate to real, true attraction. Attraction is built off of so much more. And the way that this is proved is there are plenty of people, like you said, there are plenty of couples that have different body shapes, have different health situations, but they somehow still are attracted. Somehow they still have a great relationship. Somehow it can't all be related to looks. If there are thriving couples out there that prove otherwise. And I also think it's just this like warped perception about what women want. Every woman wants something different. Every single one. It doesn't matter like who you're talking to. You're going to get a different answer from every single woman. And there has been so many studies done about like what body type women are most attracted to. And again, every woman has a different answer, but oftentimes the body shape that like scores higher is like the mid in between. Like it's not the fully ripped guy that has the 6-pack, 8-pack abs. And it's not the like so on the other side either. It's like in the middle, a normal, healthy, thriving looking body.
Dad bod.
Hell yeah. That girls are attracted to. And I would say anytime I saw like on the dating apps or whatever, a guy with like a 6-pack and was like
flexing with his shirt off,
flexing with his shirt off. Like they were the ones that I would swipe left on so fast. And the dad bots, like the guys that like, it didn't really seem to matter to them that much. Like I liked it. I was attracted to it because I know there is so much more to somebody than their physical appearance.
Yeah. I think women are attracted to presence, to the men who can be present.
Yeah.
I think they're attracted to men who are confident, who are intentional, who have like emotional intelligence.
I would say confidence is probably one of the biggest things. I know everybody says that, and it's like, it's annoying to hear because it's like, just be more confident and women will be attracted to you. I know it's hard, especially when you are working towards goals that have been a struggle for you. I know it's hard to just like pop that out of thin air and be like, okay, today I'm going to be confident. It doesn't always work like that. You usually need some mindset shifts and some coaching around it to start feeling your most confident. But what I'll tell you is like, if there was a magic pill that switched women from uninterested to interested, I would say it's radiating confidence. I would say that is probably one of the most attractive qualities a guy can have, is like fully unwavering confidence in himself.
Yeah. And owning
the areas that he is trying to improve, like, and also having goals for himself, like actually wanting to better himself for himself, not for somebody else, not for a woman's attention, for himself. Those are the guys that actually grab a woman's attention and women are actually attracted to, because she can see that it's worth so much more to you than just looks.
Right.
And
it goes beyond the surface. And so that is one really big like reason why you shouldn't postpone dating until ... until a certain number, until you see a certain number on the scale, or until you have more definition in your abs or whatever it is. Like, you don't need to wait until you have quote unquote fixed yourself to be worthy of love. This is a process. This is like, while you're on this journey of becoming healthier, start showing up, start talking about it, because to Gracie's point, that's what women are interested in. The man that can be vulnerable, the man that is confident in knowing what it is that he wants for himself. The man who's being intentional about going after it.
Yeah. And I think another attractive quality is finding somebody who is going after the same goals as you, or finding somebody who is working towards things that matter to them. I think that is something that women actually pay attention to, because not only can she see that you're trying to better yourself, but also she can see the areas of like where you fit into her life and how you would help her better herself. Like having a partnership means being able to do things together, being able to set and achieve goals together. And so I would say that there's going to be women out there that are not looking for somebody who is at a different stage than them in their health journey or their career, or, you know, there are definitely going to be women that aren't on the same page as you. And that's okay. I think that for me, for example, when I was in the dating scene, I was very intentionally looking for someone who could match my goals, who had the same values as me, who liked to take care of themselves, liked to find things to better their health, and liked to have ambitious career goals, because those were all things that were important to me. Those were all things that like I wanted for my life. And so I wanted a partner that could bring those things out in me and help challenge me and help push me to keep being the best version of myself, not a partner that wasn't aligned or that was going to pull me back. And so I think that is a really big piece to this, is like, it's okay to not be exactly where you want to be, but being in the pursuit of it for you is important to certain women. And so you might come across those women that are in a different stage than you that aren't interested, and that's okay. It says nothing about you or your worth. It just says that you guys are at different places in your life. And that's not to say that you're not going to get to that stage and start attracting those women who are also at that stage.
Yeah. I suspect that he's looking at the fact that he doesn't have a girlfriend right now. He hasn't even taken into consideration, what are the stats? How many approaches have you made? How many dates have you been on? I suspect that what you have heard from your parents and what these kind of limiting beliefs that you've had have kept you from doing the very thing
that would help you to meet women.
Exactly. So
to build relationships, to get in front of women.
Yeah. I think you have to, first off, maybe re-listen to this podcast a couple times. We know for sure that you are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too much, and you're not enough. Like you are simply in progress, and progress is what is attractive.
It's such a good place to be.
Yeah.
It's such a good place to
and
be.
The fact
and
that you're doing
it.
Yeah. And the fact that you're doing this in one of the most image conscious cities in the world.
Yeah.
That's resilience right there. So focus on that. Let that be your new truth. And that girl, the woman that you're looking for, she's going to be attracted to that. So, but you've got to get yourself out there and stop focusing, stop being limited by the beliefs that the narratives that you've been hearing, by the narratives that your parents have been offering you. They are just reflecting their own fear onto you. That's all that's happening right now. And, you know, they do need to manage their own minds a little bit. I mean, if they had any idea how hurtful that is, I suspect that they wouldn't say that, but they are actually saying that out of fear, thinking that it's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
And it's anything but.
Right.
And so for that, we're sorry. And you can they might not have the capacity to see that, to really recognize how hurtful that is. And I do have a lot of empathy for people that just can't see that. And knowing someday on reckoning day, they're going to have to like square up on that. And that's going to be a really painful place, especially when it's somebody that you love. So let them be wrong, and you continue to revel in what it is that you are doing and what it is that you do want, and be open and honest and in the process of becoming that man.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's do our polls quick.
Okay. So this week we had a little bit of a theme to the polls. I just feel like I get these questions and they're kind of interesting. So I figured I'd stick with the trend. So the first poll I did was, can you be friends with an ex? And the answers I gave you to choose from were 1, yes, if the feelings are truly gone. 2, only until one of us starts dating again. Or 3, no, too complicated.
I think I started to think about my own experiences.
I was just going to say, are you friends with any of your exes?
On Facebook.
So no.
Yeah, I'm just friendly enough that I can kind of spy on their life from a distance, which I'm guessing they're doing the same thing.
Of course, they have to be.
But I think about, okay, so that's my perspective at this age. And then I kind of think I look through your lens and think about, could you be friends with your exes? And I think it's very possible. I think partly because of who you are, not necessarily because we're different ages. I think it has a lot to do with the kind of person you are. But yeah, I would guess that most people would take the path of least resistance and just say, nope, it's too complicated.
It's such a tricky question. I don't think there is such a black and white answer to it, because I know people who are friends with their exes and it's a totally normal relationship. It's not, both parties have completely moved on and it works for them. And it's like no feelings involved, nothing like still attached or lingering for either of them. And I think that's probably the only way that a relationship with an ex could become friendly, or like to get to a place where you can be friends with your ex. Apart from that, I think if just one person even still has feelings, it's not a good idea. It's not helpful to either of you. It's a really difficult type of relationship to have in your life. And I think there's a difference between being friends and being cordial. Of course you can be cordial. Of course you can be friendly to each other if you see each other in passing or at group settings or whatever it is. But I don't think that necessarily means that you have to stay in touch, or you have to keep up with each other's lives, or you have to do things that you would do with your other friends together, right? I don't know. Like, I have exes that I would, I guess, consider friends, but not, I would consider them more so like acquaintances at this point. It's not like I keep in touch. It's not like
they're not enemies.
No.
I think it's like, what would you call them?
Some of them.
If they're not an enemy, do you call them
kidding.
a friend,
I'm
or
kidding.
do you call them an acquaintance? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just think that it's very natural. And I think that's what makes the ending of relationships so difficult, is because it's like at one point they were your best friend. At one point they were your person. They were the person you spent the most time with and all of the things. And so it is hard, especially coming out of a relationship. It's hard to see a world where you're not friends. And I understand why this can become a really difficult dynamic. But at the same time, is that what's best for both of you? Is that a relationship that's going to serve both of your lives? And if just one person is not in that place, then it probably doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to be like rude or that you can't be friendly in situations. But
I always challenge people to think about the relationship as complete, because I think
really, that's like really saved me. I feel like in certain breakups is when you have kind of coached me through, and that specific idea of a relationship instead of looking at it as something you lost or something ending,
Died,
or
you know.
yeah, it's just complete. And I think what that does, at least in my mind, is that like savors all of the beautiful shared times that we did have in the time that we had it. And like it kind of keeps them in this like almost like a snow globe type of thing. It's like it keeps it housed. It's not something that you have to discard or shatter or let go of. Those memories can still be those memories, and they can still be something at one time in your life that made you really happy that now just there's not a space for it in your life right now or anymore. And that's okay. It's just complete. It doesn't mean something negative about you or the other person. It just means that that relationship had its full course in your life, and now it's complete.
Yep. Okay. So what were the results?
Yeah. So do you have a guess on which had the highest responses?
I'm thinking that the no, too complicated probably is the winner.
Yep, you're right. So 55% of the responses were no, too complicated. The next highest answer was yes, if feelings are fully gone, and that was 34%. And then the only until one of us starts dating again, that was 12%.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next one I did was, if your ex texted you, "I miss you," what would you say? And the answers were 1, block them. 2, try to get back together with them. Or 3, pretend like you didn't see it.
I was waiting for the no habla inglés or who is this?
Who is this? I think that is probably like saying who is this is like
Such a slap in the face.
Dagger in the back, and then twisting the knife. And if an ex ever said that to me after I tried to reach back out and they were like, "Who is this?" I would literally have to crawl in a hole and not come out for a few days.
You'd learn a lesson real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's just so many variables and dynamics. Are you like in a committed relationship when you receive this?
Yeah.
Are you single when you receive this? So, I mean, you could also just reply, "Thank you," and move on. I'm glad I still take up space in your mind.
I like that. Thank you. Moving on. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, the top answer was pretend I didn't see it. That was 59% said pretend I didn't see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 23% said block them, and 19% said try to get back together with them, which I think people are lying. I think that number would be a lot higher. I get literally every single day, I get DMs about guys trying to get their ex back or asking, how can I get my ex back? I see it in my comments every day. Like, I think that number isn't totally true if people are really being honest, but I also think that like those answers are very telling, I think, to where the relationship ended. Like,
right.
If you're in a place where you're like, block them, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, this has been a tough one to get through and you're just sick of it type of thing. I don't know.
They don't have a snow globe.
They don't have a snow globe, that's for sure.
Their snow globe has been crushed, shattered on the ground.
What would you do if an ex reached out and said they missed you?
Hand the phone to Bryce.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I probably would say, "Who is this?" Because I mean, I've been married for 30 years, so that would be highly unusual.
So you don't think you have any of their contacts still?
No, I don't.
Really?
I mean, every once in a while I'll get like some wacko spam thing that just
that you think might be an ex lurking in the background.
No, but it'll say something like, "I miss you," or just the hello.
Okay.
Which of course I'm reading into it. Yeah. And I ignore it. So yeah, I guess that's what I would do. I would just
ignore it. You'd
pretend I didn't see it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
How about you?
Well, I think I've done all of these things. I
You've
think
blocked
depending
them. You've tried to get back together with them?
there's definitely, when it was a fresh breakup, there's definitely been, guys that I've waffled back and forth with.
Okay.
And then I think I've also pretended like I didn't see it after the 10th time when I was over it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think now it would depend on which ex. And I also think that, I don't know. I don't think that I wouldn't ever be mean. Like I wouldn't be like, who is this? I probably, if it was an ex that I didn't necessarily end on good terms with, I probably would just pretend I didn't see it. If it was an ex that I ended on good terms with, I would just probably respond with whatever. I don't know. I don't see any of my exes texting me saying that they miss me. So
no, because they'd probably fear that you'd talk about it on the podcast.
True. I think they all have tabs on where my life's at right now, and they probably would consider or think twice about sending a message like that to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last one was, should you text your ex on their birthday? And the answers were, yes, it's no big deal. Only if we've both moved on, or nope, bad idea.
I would say it's no big deal.
Okay. That was the least popular answer. 19% of you said, yes, it's no big deal. 29% of you said only if we've both moved on. And 52% of you said, nope, bad idea.
What do you think?
I think, again, it like really depends. I've been in like situations where we ended on good terms, and like I wanted to like kind of extend an olive branch and reach out and send them well wishes and things like that. I don't necessarily know if that's a good idea for either party, depending on who ended it or what the situation was, because I feel like if you know that there's still feelings involved on like your end or their end, it just is not a good idea. It's not helpful for either of you. But then again, I say that, and I've also, like when past relationships ended, there were times that if it was like fresh enough, they didn't text me on my birthday, like literally I would hold that grudge. Like I would be angry. Yeah. I don't know. So I think that
it's a national holiday. Hello.
I think that I think it's just hard. It depends totally on the situation. And I also think it depends on like where you're currently at. If you really want to know the answer to this for you in your specific situation, get really honest with yourself about why you would feel the need to send the message or to respond to the message. Because if you're being completely honest, if I was being completely honest with myself in past situations, usually it was some ulterior motive of like wanting to know if they still thought about me, or wanting to know if like they were still missing me.
And in all fairness, everybody has those moments of kind of weakness, of doubt, of wanting to be validated.
Totally.
Like that is human nature. So if you're sitting here feeling ashamed of yourself for doing any of that or having any of those thoughts or feelings, that is totally normal.
Yeah.
So it's just,
but just get honest with yourself.
If you can like intercept before you actually take action, like you might have that knee-jerk reaction to want to do that. Yeah. But the responding versus knee-jerk reacting is so much more powerful, and really think through it. Be a lot more intentional with your behaviors and your thoughts and feelings, and you will avoid a lot of self-sabotage.
Yeah. Really ask yourself, what is my true purpose for sending this? Or
it's a great response.
Or responding to this. And you'll probably get closer to your answer of whether or not this is a good idea for you or them. Yeah.
Well, that wraps up episode 20.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll be old enough to drink.
Yes. Just
We'll
ask
be
her.
of drinking age.
Will be.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Please pass this on to somebody who you think might need it. And we'll see you next week. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Just Ask Her. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to rate and review us. And be sure to follow Gracie on TikTok and Instagram at @datingwithgracie. Thanks again for listening.